Hello friends, welcome back to The-DeVores. If you joined us in our last video, you know that our journey took a sudden turn when Parker suffered a stroke. It was a frightening and life-changing moment, but one we're daily walking through together and with God's help, step by step. Today I want to share what happened next, from our arrival at Conway Regional Medical Center to his transfer to Baptist Health Hospital and the long first night in ICU. When we arrived at Conway Regional, everything happened so quickly. The doctors wasted no time. Parker was given a T&K shot, a blood clotting medicine. They ran CT scans and later MRIs and confirmed what we recognized. Parker had suffered an ischemic stroke on his left side of the brain, which caused paralysis on his right side. They brought me several consent papers to sign, and now as a novice to medical papers and consents, and as a wife who was a bit in shock and overwhelmed to say, I wanted to read every line. But honestly, it was hard to make sense of it all. In those moments, you do the best you can. You ask the questions you need to, and then you just trust God and the team around you. The doctor started talking about Parker needing to go to the neurological ICU. Well, naturally, I thought he meant right there at Conway Regional. Unbeknownst to me, he was actually calling around trying to find somewhere an ICU that could take Parker. A little later, the doctor came back and said that Baptist Health Hospital in Little Rock had accepted him. He told me that Baptist Health had one of the best neurological ICUs in the state. Because Parker had been given the T&K shot, he needed to be transported by an ambulance for safety. That was both a relief and another wave of angst, knowing we'd have to move him again, but also grateful he was headed somewhere with the right care. And amongst all of this, I had texted and called the kiddos as well as a few friends and asked them to pray for Parker and I, that he had had a stroke. While in Conway, one of our dear friends, Wayne and Teresa Opry, came to support me. And when I went out to the lobby to see them, I realized that other friends from Conway, Rodney and Savannah Tyndall, they were there waiting to offer support as well. They knew we were there because the Taylors' next door neighbor had contacted the Taylors and asked what was going on because there was an ambulance at their house. So the Taylors immediately had contacted Rodney to come check on us. And as all of that was happening, life outside the hospital was still spinning. We were house and dog sitting at that time for the Taylors, who were actually in the middle of selling their home and moving supposedly that weekend. So I had to quickly arrange with a dear friend, Laura, and Audrey's mother, to take Thor and Hercules, two of the three furry charges that we'd had until the family had returned. She graciously said yes. I left the ER when the ambulance did, went by the house, packed a bag of essentials for each of us, trying to decide what truly was going to be needed, and then I headed toward Little Rock, praying the whole time. It felt like I was being pulled in so many directions. My heart with Parker, my hands busy with responsibility. But even in the middle of it, I could see God's provision, friends stepping in, details being covered, and strength I didn't even know I had on my own. When I arrived at Baptist Health, I was ushered into Parker's ER room. The doctors were carefully examining him, trying to decide if he needed surgery, if it would be necessary to remove a clot. Those were long, anxious moments. But then came our first blessing at Baptist Health. they came in and determined that no surgery was needed. Praise the Lord. It's the first of many good things to come. Parker was admitted to Baptist Health South ICU. From there, the monitoring began. Blood pressure, his insulin levels, EKG, more blood tests. Both his blood pressure and his insulin were high, so they were keeping a very close watch. That night, something happened that startled me. After one of the IV flushes, I noticed a little blood on the side of his face. Then, when I pulled back the covers, I saw more blood, and you can imagine my heart was racing. I hit the call button immediately. The IV line in the bend of his arm had come completely out, and it needed to be replaced. Thankfully, the nurses handled that quickly, but my nerves at that point were in a bit of a shock, I think. The ICU nurses were incredible, though. They monitored him constantly, and they also showed such kindness to me. They even let me stay a little beyond visiting hours. I stopped by the ICU information desk, and there the woman asked me where I was planning to stay. When I said Conway, she looked at me with such compassion and quickly provided me with a location close by where I could get some rest and still be near Parker. As I finally prepared to leave that night, and it was late, one of the ICU nurses handed me a couple of blankets and a pillow. It was such a small act, but at that moment, it felt like such a gift from the Lord, a reminder that we were being cared for in more ways than one. So that was the first day, a whirlwind of surprising moments, answered prayers, and sweet reminders that God is always with us every step, from kindnesses of nurses who bent the rules to the sweet lady at the desk, making sure I had a place to rest. Friends, I could see his hand guiding us. And that's where I'm going to pause now, just because this is the beginning. I'd love to hear from you. Has there been a time when someone's kindness made a hard day or time just a little easier for you? Share it in the comments below, because these stories encourage all of us. And if this story has touched you, encouraged you, or maybe reminded you that you're not alone when life takes a sudden turn, I'd love for you to subscribe and walk this road with us. This isn't a journey that we planned, but it's one we're walking with faith, with hope, and with a lot of gratitude. We'd be honored if you'd walk it with us. Next time, I'll share about day 2, when the reality of ICU life really set in, and how we found strength in unexpected ways. This video is for sharing our personal experiences only. It is not intended to provide medical advice, diagnosis, or treatment. Please consult qualified medical professionals for any health-related concerns or issues.